It's 2023, and we're back with another episode of. That's not how this starts. So, I've got an issue here. Fortunately, I know the guy that's going to solve it. So, 127 issues. This is just one of them. Found this the other day while I was doing some testing. Figured instead of just fixing it or investigating whatever it is, I don't actually know what the solution is. I don't know what the problem is. I'll go through my process of how I actually go about solving these. And for no reason, I've got this board in the background that just keeps glowing. So it'll be distracting to see how distracting it is. So, with that, all right, describing what the issue is. Let's see if I can't replicate it. So I'm on hackspsu.edu, the greatest website building factory ever. Let's build a brand new thing, make a course. We've got new options now, so create my own. It wouldn't be one of my videos without. So I'm gonna create the thing. I'm gonna use my fun music. Cool. I've got this very, very simple site. It just has 3 words on it. I'm going to add a page. I'm going to edit the page on here and save. Now, when I did that, it stayed in place. And if we read the issue, on page save, weight set back to top on new sites. So a little confusing, but there is effectively a magic variable hidden behind the scenes here. So if we pop open the console, other than seeing whatever the hell all this H5P stuff is about, we can do window.haxcms.store.manifest items. Oh, more proxies. I know what they are. So 0, 1, it's an array of proxies, probably item 3, which was also a proxy, .id, and we have an ID, but we have a weight. Now, what I'm stepping into here, I don't have weight. What is that? Order? Yeah, order, okay. Order is set to 3 on this item. Now, I don't know, I'm going to actually try to do this before this way, but if I set order to like -15, okay, nothing should happen initially. It is set there. But then if I tell, I need to tell the screen to update. So I'm going to do a document.query selector, HAXcms. Oh no, it's actually called a clean one, right? Yep, clean one. Give me access to that element. And then it is a lit element based element. All lit elements have request update. That didn't do it. Dot hacks. Oops. I'm going to HAXcms site builder. Trying to force the variable to reload. Dot. Well, we do a shadow root. Dot query. To achieve that. So another way I could go about grabbing this, I just want access to that and see if I can force the data to update. I haven't done this before this way, just to be clear. It stores a global variable, the site menu item. Update. Oh, didn't care about that. All right, maybe I can't forcibly update it that way. What I'm trying to simulate is, if we reload, all right, it's still there. So good, that data didn't update. Order is an attribute property that's on each of these items in our manifest, which is just a big object telling us where we are. So if I edit this, froze there, may have lost the internet, which would be hilarious. Yeah, it's just like hanging out. Okay. Not sure what happened there. It was a little bizarre. Anyway, we've got a page. Things and stuff happen. Okay. Save the page. Page is there. Good. Okay. Switch back forward. Now, if I do Outline Designer, this is getting to what the issue claims I was trying to simulate it for. I've got these items here. I can move this page up above the glossary and hit save. And what it's doing is it's changing the order in question. And now page is listed there. Now to see what actually happened there as far as the backend call, because this is executing a fetch, right, XHR or AJAX, whatever you want to call it. Outline designer makes no call. This is just visualizing that structure I was trying to mess with before. If I move glossary back above page and hit save, we get save outline, which we can then see the items in question. So it's sending this payload to the backend here. I'll show you my JWA, which is available for like the next hot minute, so I don't care. And there we go, order 3. So page is in the third spot because order is set to 3 there. Now I'm going to need that open on the side most likely. So if I have page, we notice that one went to the top. Previously it went to the bottom. And save. All right, still just called page. Okay, so let's rename this to this. Okay. Trying to make all of the available potential use cases. There, it went to the top. Okay, so that's what I was attempting to simulate. So if we look at what connection settings, wow, I have disable cache, so it's going to keep hitting these over and over again. I see. It's like, why is it loading so much stuff there? Get user data, we'll load again, connection settings, save node. There we go. So the first thing that I am indicating to look at is this. So order is being sent up as 4. However, this page could have already loaded, so that order value might not be accurate. Interesting. Okay. Order, this page break tag in the context of HAXcms is dictating kind of the hidden metadata that I was surfacing previously. So if I open edit page, we'll see there's order right there. And right now order is set to nothing, which is also possibly an indicator of what's going on. Page details. Let's set order to 4, which is what it claimed to be previously. And it didn't move. The order to 11 for all I care. Let's make sure it's actually keeping the setting. All right, it's keeping it there. Now I can also hit view source. And view source this is what it's going to send to the backend. So it's going to send that it's published, it has a certain depth, and the order is 11. Okay, I could update that in place. We'll just leave it there for now. Let's make a change to ensure it actually executes. Change, edit opens. So we'll rename this as well. Stuff stays up there. Let's reload the page. Stuff is still up there. Let's grab the line designer. Move this stuff just above glossary. Yes, I'm going to update the page. Save outline. Let's see what stuff was listed as. Stuff is given an order of 3. Now, this is reordering on the fly. That's part of what it's doing. So what I'm trying to diagnose here is why that one page would move all the way to the top. Now, I think if I edit the page itself, now order is set to 1 here. I said it's like -4. See, that moved up to the top. So I'm thinking we have a data type issue. Well, that's kept as 3. So let's see. Let's make that 14 or whatever. It should be below the bottom. Yeah, see, it didn't. Moved it up there. Welcome to market. Currently has no order associated with it. And it's now, if you recall a second ago, that had an order. This is saying it's order 3. Let's make it 13. And now it's moved up there. And now if we kind of peek behind the data here, I think it'll tell me the order. Just sitting in the DOM. No, I guess I didn't put that in the DOM. but I can grab lesson. It's kind of funny. Explosion sound effect. Console. All right, let's do that little hack so that I can get access to the data. Instance dot store dot manifest dot items. So one because it's an array, so it's the second item. Dot order. It's going to be one in the title. It's going to be lesson. So that is lesson. The order isn't one though. So it would appear that the front end is shipping up. Right. This is saying that that's order 3. So let's go to another one. Go back to this guy. Now it's saying it's order 1. All right. So it is saying it's order 1. But if I save, and let's rename this. Add some content. When I save, it's not sending order 1 to the back end. What did I save? Save node. Okay, so this was the first part of what I was supposed to be looking for here. Now that's the schema of the content in the page, which is kind of a unique filtering and sanitization approach. It actually takes the HTML and it sends it to the back end as a collection of nodes and then processes it after the fact. But the body here with the node, it's very interesting because the order is 1 and it's a numerical value. You can tell based on the color coding. Then we have a numerical value there. And you can see the rest of it. There's a lot of data that this pulls off of the attributes. So it's sending 1 to the back end. However, that's set as 1. Okay, what happens if we go take 33 and we make it like 100? All right, so that should read 100 if I go back to it. Yep, it's still 100. Now we say, so that one moved to the bottom, and in here, we should read 100 there. There's 100. Yeah, towards the bottom of that section there. It said order 100, but I can do it in here. Yeah, order 100. Okay. But now if I save this, I see order is set to 4. I mean, that is what it's supposed to be. It's reordering it on the fly because 100 doesn't make sense. It would be 4. Yeah. All right, so let's take the outline and let's move this up above glossary because those operations it maintains accurately. And now let's just save this, claiming it's order 3. It moves it back to 1. If we look in here, it says order 3. Huh. And now it says order is nothing. So we clearly have some sort of data type mismatch going on here. So I view source, order is now 0, which one, even if it's 0, it should still be written as 0 right there, right? So it could be something where it's thinking it's false instead of 0, or that it's quotes 0. Okay, so what if we put it to like 4? Let's make sure it was set in code. Yep, order was 4, but it still didn't move. Let's try to make order again like 100 or something, like 800, whatever. And now it moved. This would be the weird thing. All right, so on the front end, let's refresh and see if it's order 800. It's another, again, we're trying to gather evidence ahead of time. Okay, dig into the page details. Okay, so it resets it to 4. even though it should have been 800, because it wants to reorder the tree to be the simplest form. And if I view source, we'll see that its order is 4. However, if I hit save, it's going to go to the top. So now, again, because we're trying to diagnose what's going on here, I'm thinking it does send order 4, but I'm thinking the back end is like, oh, you wanted to do a total reorder of this. So prior to even looking at the code in question, I can kind of isolate some inconsistency behind the back end's retrieval and response of this information, right? Because previewing what comes back, right? So payload is what goes up. Preview, response. Preview is just a nicer form of response. It's saying that the order is 4, so it should have kept it in order 4. However, it appears to have remixed it on the front end. So another way, in this case, I could check this, is if I go to site.json. Right, so this is the magic, if you will, of what's powering that page. Now, the order of lesson 33, lessons 33, since the title order is 4 there. Now, if I just look for order in this response, lessons is 4, welcome page is 15, which means it should be down quite a bit, but it's right there. All right, so what's stuff? So stuff is 16. Rename this is 17. 17. And then lesson 33 is 4. Glossary is 19. Welcome is 15. Okay, so these are in the correct order. It's just that they're set. They're being set really high. Now, let's see what happens if I go into Outliner and we take stuff and we move it there. Okay, so it is doing the correct order at that point in time, which that is updating our little database, if you will. Order. I think I might know what the issue is here. Okay, so it's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay. So if I go to stuff, though, the front end, yes, okay. So the front end is reorganizing this asset, even though the back end for, in this case, stuff is supposed to be 18. But we see that the front end is reporting it's actually 3. And so it is the third item. However, the outline designer is pushing things to like a 15, 16, 17, starting at 15 in this case for whatever reason. And then the front end is reorganizing that and undoing the order that came across. So it's not respecting what the actual storage engine is for order. So now I'm going to go and document that. Okay, so front end sets the correct order from back end. Back end saves the correct order. Outline designer is doing order as its starting point. Items. And then we edit something. Front end. I'm gonna add something on there. The front end is updating the order to be a simplified order. So either OD designer needs to update the order to be simplified from on submission, or then needs to stop messing with the datas. Very important. Okay. So if cancel that outline designer, right? So let's just make sure. Okay, that has order 19, 18, 17. So this makes me, now I could be wrong. Let's throw a new item in there. I call them a dumb. Say, so that new dumb item. See, that new dumb item started at 15. And that is most likely what the culprit is. So if that, okay, so all right, now we finally have enough isolation as to what the problem is, so that now we can actually go about trying to fix it. So if I go, repo, fire it up, in VS Code, there's a bunch of stuff. Okay, this is an outline designer, which recently got completely re-architected. Now let's just do a fun search for the number 15. Let me see, it's not that at least. Order is order plus one. So new items coming in, grab order plus one. And this is for dragging things to the start and end. Sync UI and data model. Oh, let's see what's going on there. So sync UI and data model runs recursive update indentation and schema order update. Okay, and then after 300 milliseconds, it runs a request up. Actually, well, it slightly delays request update, which forces a repaint in Outline Designer, and then it removes this animation thing. This is some trickery to ensure that when you're dragging items, you don't get like this weird like animated effect. So anyway, schema order update. Okay, so we make a new JSON outline schema, which is the name of that standard. Then we take the items that are in our site and we turn them into nodes. Then we go from nodes to items. Now, my guess is that this is told for some reason to start at 15. So if I go into JSON outline schema, you just click on the class, get child outline. Plus one. Something's telling you to start at 15, silly goose. Search for number 15. That might. Oh, there's no number 15 here, but there are JSON outline schema items. Order of those starts low. Huh. So something goes into here. Take an HTML node, convert it to schema. Scrub element JOS data. Huh. Now the outline designer has, I believe, just items. Yes, this dot items in it, which means I can view those items in question. So an outline designer, and we right click and we find this item and we store as a global value, then I'll be able to do the items and get access to the data like I was before. Now, this is the data as the application sees it. So that crazy FG whatever actually has an order of 0. All right, things are getting interesting now. So then this item actually has an order of 5. So something is converting it just prior to saving. Now, let's take stuff and move it down. Okay, so now this should be updated. Stuff is at the bottom. It has an order of 5. It also has a little flag indicating it's modified. These are numerically correct at the moment. Very interesting. Okay, so they are numerically accurate right now. Now, let's see what happens when I hit save, if they're going up with these orders in question. Okay, so there's save outline. It does reorder that correctly. The payload of items has an order of 5, 6, 7, whatever. Let's see the back end though. Okay. So the order is starting at 15 on the back end. So the front end, in this case, is out. The front end is reorganizing it, right, based on what's supposed to be sent up. And we see the payload goes up. This order is 5 for this item. If we preview the items, we see the data coming back says the order is 20. Now, I wonder, if we take this and let's just, I wonder if glossary, which would be the 5th item, if I move those around, hit save, should come back as 20 now. Yes, okay. So now save outline, which we can see, it's an API system call here. Right, so now I've actually invalidated that the front end is the problem. The front end is putting it in the correct order. The back end isn't saving that value that's going up correctly. So we can close out of this. Now, there's 2 different applications at play here. What you're seeing on the front end is in a mono repo. We have hundreds of elements there. Now, this, that's the little mini backend for this that basically updates that file, the site.json file, is HAXcms. Now, it's going to be hard to search for the number 15. Right? Or maybe it won't be. That would be funny if it wasn't that hard. Hey, look at that. So I know where to look for this, but all right, it says 15 weeks. I know what that's from. But this, maybe it runs in 2 different places. All right, so when we delete nodes, ooh, okay. All right, so when we delete stuff, look for orphans. If we find something, so a page that is about to be made an orphan, remove its parent and just force IC. So in that case, okay, so there's a few edge cases here. In that case, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't know if this is going to show up on there. This is part of why I pulled this up. So why there's 2 different use cases here. Let's see if this thing shows up. HTML rocking. I wanted to see if it showed up on the board. Okay. So look at this relatively clean area in the middle that should be visual. So when I delete items, what I've got is I've got this blue outline of things. Now let's say that there's actually a nested material because Outline Designer can nest. Let's say that you axe this item right there. If I axe that item and I hit save, these guys shouldn't get killed, right? These, they still exist, but they should basically just go back up. Now, I'm about to delete this item. I might be able to grab the order that it was and then keep incrementing from there relative to what the order of the children are. Delete is a special case. I know I'm not working on delete necessarily, but it is something I have to worry about. So the parent page, okay, ensure that parent is valid to recurse orphan children. So we are going to, so we're loading this page. This is the page we are going to delete. And we delete it. Right here. That will effectively delete the node. So that page doesn't go away when we delete the node in question. But if this was successful, then it will move here. So we assume that we just deleted that page. Now, if, just to be safe, and this ensures that it's actually deleted. Oh, this is when we go to the orphan check. So give me the items. Okay. Load the item in question. This is basically just to ensure it is actually there. And then after okay, so I don't want to get rid of that page. All right, so let's do parent page. I do actually reuse that variable. Ensure that parent is valid to rescue orphan item. So in this case, I wasn't able to load that item in question. No, I don't think I want to do it that way. Right? It's not evaluated. It's just if I couldn't load this, right? Yeah, ensure that parent is valid to rescue orphan items. Okay, so and then I take the parent and I set it to nothing on the page that I'm working on. Right, so the parent. Okay, so if we're able to load the parent node, then delete it. Now it's been deleted, which delete just means that it's been removed from the site schema in question. So it will be gone, but we still have the data because we loaded it here. It's not actually killing that variable. So by having access to parent, we would know what the order of parent is initially, right? And so then we want the parent order plus page order. So if parent was like 5, that's per here. This thing is actually 0, right? So then this becomes 5, and this becomes 5 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3. So that should move things back in the structure roughly where they were. Now, the issue with that potentially is if there's children below that, it's going to like mix it all around. So I see why I did it that way. Okay. So let's keep that the way it was. I rationalize that way. Now let's make it like order plus 100 because we want to throw it all the way to the bottom in this edge case. Now, again, I'm axing the edge case that has to do with 15 being added. The real thing in question is what I'm guessing is this guy. So let's see what this method is. Save outline. So this is what's getting called when it rebuilds that data. So it's getting brought in with the order. Order is accurate. And do we reassign order somewhere? That's what I'm wondering. Okay. No, that's still just orphan check. I'm very surprised. Right, so I said it was going to be plus 100 here, I believe, right? Let's just safely move it to the bottom. Which then I'll get updated on the next pass because the front end is self-healing. So why is order getting screwed up? It's get order and it typecasts as an int. So that's what's happening when we save a page, if I recall. Yes, when we save, that's how we're correctly pulling that value through. So I'm not concerned about that value. And that's on deleting. And I understand why it's doing it that way. Order is 0 when we list sign. That's a different call. All right. This might be the issue. Huh. So when we save outline, order is coming across. I mean, it has to be there for the item. So it goes through the items. Where's item being set? Oh, as item. Okay. So for each items key item, okay, then we take the order in question of the item, and page has that order. Items, update, no, that's all on the orphan check part. The manifest is saved. But then the thing coming back has, this like 15, 16, 17, 18 crap. That's duplicate requests. We're not worried about those. update the node if we're able to load it. And if we're not able to load it, it's a brand new thing. That's fine. From there, so it's making sure it doesn't have to do with manifest. Slug. I'm betting that it's this. It would seem bizarre that this is even possible. I don't think that's possible to come across without that property. Now, key should theoretically be the same thing because these aren't going to be keyed differently. All right, let's. So we're going through the items. I'm showing the raw parameters of the items being shipped up here. So I use original here. Let's see if it moved or needs moved. That would imply that the slug has changed. Got it. Okay, so then what do we do on moved? That has to do with whether or not we're creating a brand new page or if it already exists. Okay, so that would be my guess, is to boil it down to this block being a little screwy. Now, so we have a local machine environment here. Now, if it's front end code, I got to do like a whole build and make it, web capable. Thanks, modern development. But it's a little test bed, if you will. So I can go to any old site. This one. All right. So outline designer. Let's make sure we close that already. I don't want to confuse instructions. So now if I take this, I'm doing the same testing as it's site. Here we go. Okay, so we can see the order is 15 on that first page title. So what I'm going to do is with order here, I am going to actually break things. I'm going to print that new length plus and really just messing with the output. So this is going to be updating the code that's in my little container that's running. And so then if I do network and got save outline, let's reorganize a page. Okay, save outline, there we go. We can force it to throw a whole ton of data on the output that we don't want it to. Now, again, this went up correctly with 0 and stuff, but came back incorrectly. Now I have the whole data object here. Messing with order. And okay, so order is correct in the data object at that time. Warning, a non-numeric value encountered in 469. 469. I'm not sure why it cares about writing the word here. It does come into this block, and then page should have order. Order 2, 3, 4. Yeah, but then there's order 100. This is a very unique issue. And there's order now is set at 100. 101, 102, 103. I did just add the number 100 into something. Interesting. Okay. So we're good there. This key is a fallback. It's not supposed to ever be used, but I just put 100 into this guy. All right. Now on delete, it should do that level of cleanup. However, this save outline thing is supposed to be able to clean stuff up. Orphan check. So we save everything. Run through the items in question. Page equals loading this item ID. Parent okay. So, just walking through this. Load all of the items to make sure we don't have any orphans. Load the item in question to make sure it exists. If the parent didn't load successfully, set the parent to null and the order to order plus 100. However, if the parent is already null, implying it's at the top of the structure, it will never load. So, what you have to do, if parent does not equal null, and that is not null. So this only would have affected the top of the structure. And now we can go back to the other one where I did the exact same thing, and we can say if parent doesn't equal null and we weren't able to load it. Because if parent equals null, I don't need to do this crap. It's already in the right order. All right. So make sure the other parts are in place. Okay, load that. All right. Now, let's see. That corrected our data model issue. So, our data inconsistency. Now, let's move 34, W2, save. 34, W2 are in the correct order. And more importantly, order is coming back as 3. Now, it's not coming back numerically as 3, which is a little weird. And so let's just make sure that this is typecast as an int in either case, just to be sure. It resolved it on the front end because I've already put in, checks for that. Okay, those two switched. Outline. Hey, order is now actually 3. Now, the reason I knew it wasn't 3 is that it was quotes 3. So that's a string. The order I want to be numerical. Right? So, I could be wrong, but I believe we fixed this. Now, let's see. That also could be part of that inconsistency I was noticing with the things on the front end. So let's edit page. That is now 3. It's awesome. Let's make it -4. And it moves to the top. Now let's get, it doesn't like negative numbers, I guess. It's unfortunate. Well, let's just save, see what happens. Oh, it moved down. Okay, so there might still be a front end issue there. Now this is at 1. Could be a front end issue, or let's check. It might be set to 0, I believe. So it is a front end issue, but it's relatively minor. Yes, order is 0 because it's healing the structure. It wants it to be 0, and yes, okay. So now I make an issue off of this issue, but that is excessively minor, and it's not actually hurting anything. We'll see. So get started. Okay, so that would be in or page break issue. Page break form won't set 0. Is 0. They HAXcms this 0 actually thinking it's numeric. That might be a little bit more in the weeds than I care to get into right now, especially if it's not hurting anything. So this is an issue in HAXcms, but might also be an issue in our simple field system. And this is definitely a bug. Pretty minor. Nice to be fixed. Put that. Okay, so I've got that issue, and I'm going to say that it stems from this one. While fixing 7. All right. Cool. So that way I've got that related. I can see this issue spawns from that one. Just a nice way of tidying that up. Now I look at this data. Yay, I don't have order 100 anymore. I have order 0. And this is another advantage of having a robust local testing environment. Now, weird. I have order 0. How many order 0s do I have? 0 there. 1, 2, and 0. Okay. So let's make sure that save node. So that's save node. Save node is going to have to pull in, not path, but order, I believe. And I believe I verified that this was okay before. Order. So if it has an attribute order, we're going to typecast it as an integer just to be sure. That schema that gets returned as well, which we don't do anything with right now, but it's for fun. Future usage. Okay. Save node. Okay. So I take this structure though. Let's go outline designer. We just we move this page, which is a different page entirely. Hit save. Okay. That structure is still okay. Things /1 is under 0. Okay, so it did. I think it corrected this structure. So let's move that back out. Add a page. And then 0 is my new fun thing. And it reorganized it. That's nice. I think it's just when I update a single item because it's not actually going to reshuffle the array. So let's take 2W content, edit. It has an order of 4. And we'll just, okay, it stayed in the same place. That stayed as 4. It did some additional content analysis, whatever. All right, now let's take this. Let's try to make it 3. Okay, and it doesn't move. It should be set to 3, but that is also 3. And so we'll set it to, it actually field back to 4. Okay, now if I set it to 2, well, so it should move. That should move to the bottom. And then when I click on first page, say 4. And this says 3. Okay, so that I don't really have a problem with that through that UI with that happening, which would imply that's why it happened previously with that guy when I moved it around. Now, if I go to 1, we hit edit, order is 1, fine, order is blank, and change. And now if those stayed in play, that's all, just making sure. Now, if I move this guy to 0, stays in place, okay? But now if I go to it, it should be 1. Very good. Now if we make the negative 1, right? That moved to negative 1. It should become 0. Okay, yeah, which is blank. But this now should become 1. Okay. All right, so we refresh this. Order 0 is on this gobbledygook. Ah, okay. So I wonder if I refresh if we'll get the same thing. So in this one, no edges of edge case here, right? So this guy isn't updated on the back end, but the front end it is. So if I do this and just hit save generically, I think it still sends it. Yep. Now it updated the order. Okay. All right. So I don't. It's a hard one to quantify if it's actually a glitch. So the whole point of updating individual items is that they don't know about the rest of the structure. It is then technically possible to have these two be goofed up if editing via this value. I mean, it's not, it is sticking to the data model as defined. So if it's order one, it's order one. It's not pushing the other children around because I'm editing this page. It should not have influence over the other pages for multiple reasons. Huh. The, so if we take it and we say, well, the parent is now that, we'll do that. Right. So I can scoot it under there. Now, order is zero. So if I move it back out to no parent, we'd say it moves there, and it should still be one. However, on the back end, it might be zero still. So if I refresh, it should be in the right order because I think title is the tiebreaker. But if I name this A, oh no, okay, and then refresh, it'll move to the top. No, it didn't. Okay. Hmm. I stand corrected. I would move it because of the orders up. I get there is a scenario where I believe that's possible. Huh, okay, maybe not. All right, so a minor inconsistency there. Now let's make sure that when we do our reparent that it respects that correctly. So what I was rambling about with reparenting would be I move these guys under here. So let's do that. Okay, save. All right, so now we have children under there. And now we take Outline Designer and we delete this, which cascades the delete, but I go, oh, I didn't actually want to delete those. So this is the weird edge casey thing here. You could delete the parent, but the child content could still be there. In that scenario, when I save, I should still have 3 pages. And I do, and they are in the correct order as before. And it's thrown that 100 in there and 101. Nice. So that they sink to the bottom. Now, if I add a page, it's now not possible in this time period to move below these because this has an order of 2 as it claims. This page is going to be 2. So, all right. So you can get some weird little data model inconsistencies when we do that. Hmm. I wonder if I need to add them in at 100 on a delete. I mean, we're edges of edges here. But this is how I test things. Kind of why I wanted to record this. This is the level of detail in testing. I'm not using the system in a way that people will typically use the system. I'm using it in a way to try and break it. Right. Here's another example. Order is now 3, right? Because I added it via the UI, which would imply that add node or add page, right? It's add page. Yeah, add page, which is not an operation. Sorry, it's create node. The order needs to be numeric. Order should come across. I do have it documented correctly. I don't actually appear to have an item. So I have an item here. Create node. Oh, I see. This is the this is the one versus multiple. Got it. item from params. Okay. Make sure order is typecast print. You know? All right, make sure order is not nothing in those scenarios. Okay, so where is our operation reordering? All right, so in the case of that guy, now let's see, add, right? And this is now just called page. Slug is page, title is page, order is 3. There we go. Order is 4. Okay, so that one at the bottom, yes, it correctly incremented the slug, and now the order is numerical 4 as opposed to string 4. So, and this is another thing, kind of, added in. So rest order on new pages needs to be very minor. But worth noting, sometimes we do these things in aggregate after the fact. All right, so that order 4 thing is going to be bundled up in this fix as well. All right, so what do we got? CMS. This is going to have 1,000 changes for some reason. Modify things in. Oh, I think I deleted a folder or something. Yeah. All right, so there's that. Oh wait, no. I'm gonna undo. It's the equivalent of an add all. Nothing to commit. Oh. All right, well, just associated those with that message. I'm not sure. That's weird that it found these other. Yeah, I guess so. I do have other Git repos in here. It doesn't usually show those. It's weird. All right, that's fine. Sync that up. Okay. So they're all tagged with this one. Minor oopsie there. Not a huge deal. On page save, set the weights back top. Okay, there's that form issue off of there. All right, and then on child, on orphan rescue, ensure we reorder tree. Yes. Same. And so we should probably reorder the whole. Is bug minor HAXcms sort of outline design related. Okay. And that one might be pretty easy given that under operations, it's under operations, save outline. Save outline was a heck of a lot. Get unique name, it loads everything, write the contents, update alternate formats. Item from param, orders not in here too frequently. What's that? Add page. I see. Just a count of the items in the manifest. I don't know. That might be another way to do it. Huh. You hadn't thought of that. You didn't think of that, did you? Okay. I have access to the site. Yeah. So that's a vastly superior solution in both of these cases, actually. All right, I'm gonna move stuff to the end. I know how big the thing is. Okay. Yeah, let's do that then. All right. So it's not this, it's site. So site count the items in the manifest, right? And then add that with the page order. Right. So if I have Let's see. So if I have, right, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I delete 1, right? So now I've got 4 items, right? So that's going to come up as 4. And then I'm going to add this item's weight, but its weight is actually 0, and this weight is 1. So that would be, I'm going to reorganize. We have 0, 1, 2 is gone. This should actually be 3, and this should be 4. However, our current math would make this 4 and this 5, which means we need the count of the items minus 1. Okay. So we do that instead of, sorry, so we've got the order in question, so page order of these new items in this weird edge case. Force to bottom of things while still being in old order if lots of things got axed. Yes. So minus 1. Okay. So we've got the order in question. Then we've got the count, which is going to be numeric. So we've got 5 items, we go down to 4 items. However, it's array positional logic because I start at 0. So it's actually a 3, right? Because we subtract 1 from that to get the array position. So on the first pass, it's going to be 0 plus 4 minus 1 to give us 3. 0, 1. Well, 2 is going on. Wait a minute now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it should be weight is 0, weight is 1, weight is 2 in this case. But I'm going to have 4 items 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's actually just going to be set to 3. It's because the order of this was 2. I think. Yeah, this is what's goofing me up here. It's okay. So this is going to get it pretty darn close, as opposed to being like 100. Since the purpose is if we're not have, it's not if we're dealing with like 5 items, so we're dealing with like 200, and something in the middle has to be rescued in this way. Okay, that makes more sense. So save that, and then where's 100 again? Okay. Page order typecast int the site which we'll have access to, and we subtract 1 from it. So let's try that and see how close we get. Okay, so we're local. Let's do designer. Move these pages in under the parent and child. Okay. Cool. Parent, child. Okay. So data model in question, a parent and child. So child is order 1. That's very important. Child is order 1 underneath the parent, which is actually the parent is order 2 in this case. Okay. And so this is the 2 item. So then this will be 0, 1. Okay. Right. Yes. 1. All right. Now let's delete that, but not these guys. Okay. Save. And they're still in the right order at the bottom. And now child is order 4. This first page title is order 3. The thing right before it is going to be 1, though. Yes. Okay. 1, and then that's 0. So these are 1 off of what it would be when I do this. But I also didn't know where they came from. So it's a secure way of putting it as the very last thing. I don't think I want it to be minus 2. Do I want it to be minus 2? I mean, this will be reorganized. Now it's 3, but I kind of want to get it to the right position initially. So let's add a whole ton more things. Way. All right. So we've got that in that state. And then either of these should be good. Okay. Or 6 and whatever. Now let's try. I only say we might have to subtract 2 because we're actually deleting an item as well. So it's kind of going backwards an extra position. So let's see if that'll put it in the right place, even if I remove it from somewhere far, much farther up the structure. So here's the other part of this, right? So I'd delete that. This is a much more likely use case. I would cascade that one, but not this one. So let's see if right at the end. And the other thing is these should not be touched. Same. I don't know that either way, but so this right at the end should be at the bottom after child. Okay, and right at the end should be 8 in this case. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so it's not really possible because I'm grabbing, that's what it is. Okay, I'm grabbing all of the items, which also includes these in the count. Yes. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the -2 or -1. All right, so we'll call that good enough for now. I'm not going to get into like all the children of this item. Again, this is mostly just to, in this one edge case, fudge it to the right place. But you get the idea of how we go about diagnosing, digging between front end and back end in these systems. And this was just one example. A lot of times these are kind of like a spidering sort of a tree of things, right? I came up with a whole bunch of other issues that I ended up resolving as a result of this. So this will get pushed out into like a 6.0.1, and then it won't be an issue anymore. Look for HAXcms.edu to hopefully be updated this semester to be more logical as to what the heck it is. See ya.